Good evening. My name is City News from iHeartRadio. I will be your host and your moderator for this small business conversation proposed flavored tobacco regulation. I apologize for my tardiness. I was on a parent-teacher conference, and my daughter's doing good, just so you know that. Just put a smile on everybody's face. All right, okay. Round of applause for that. All right. But I'd like to welcome everybody, and she was just up here at the podium, but now I'm about to ask her to come back up to the podium. Please give a round of applause for Councilmember Shayla Favor, please.
Thank you, City, and congratulations to you and your daughter, because that means you both are doing well, right? Good evening, and thank you all for being here tonight for this very important discussion. I would like to start by acknowledging and thanking my colleagues, Councilmember Bankston, as well as Councilmember Barosa de Padilla for being here this evening, as well as Assistant Health Commissioner Edward Johnson. My name is Shayla Favor, and I serve as the chair of Columbus City Council's Health and Human Services Committee. Tonight, we are here to discuss Columbus Public Health's proposed legislation to regulate the sale of flavored tobacco in the city of Columbus. The legislation is live, and you can access it at www.columbus.gov/tobacco. A few months ago, the Coalition to End Tobacco and Columbus Public Health presented an initiative to Columbus City Council that would regulate the sale and distribution of flavored tobacco products within the city of Columbus. From the beginning, City Council's goal has and continues to be to listen, to elevate this issue, and to inform both ourselves and the community on the impacts of flavored tobacco. We want to hear from all of you, our residents, our health experts, and businesses, to really understand the complexities of this issue. When we created our engagement strategy on this issue, we were intentional in planning for 3 conversations for small business owners. We know the health impacts and how flavored tobacco plays a role, but we also understand that this proposed legislation from Columbus Health could impact businesses. At our community conversation last week, we had a very unexpectedly large turnout. Unfortunately, we hit fire code capacity, and we were unable to accommodate everyone. But we are not done listening. We want to hear from business owners and retailers. Tonight's conversation, as well as 2 additional conversations planned for later this month, are intended to give our business owners that space to share their thoughts and to ask any questions they may have. Flavored tobacco has been a hot topic of discussion not only in our city, but also across our country. In April of 2021, the FDA announced its plans to ban menthol as a categorizing flavor in cigarettes and ban all categorizing flavors, including menthol in cigars. While the FDA has yet to pass legislation, to date, 8 states and 360 localities have passed restrictions on the sale of flavored tobacco products. Of course, each of the laws differ in their application and specification. Tonight, we are here to talk about our community. We will have a short program, and after we will open it up for discussion portion. Thank you to everyone who has signed up to speak in advance. If you are interested in speaking or asking a question tonight, it is not too late. Please fill out a speaker slip located at the registration table. Avery has her hands up waving if you have not completed a form already. If you do not want to speak tonight, but would like to provide written testimony, those are available at the registration table, or you can email flavoredtobacco@columbus.gov. Additionally, we have an upcoming public hearing next week on November 9th at 4:30 p.m. in council chambers, and 2 additional small business conversations planned for November 16th, which will be virtual, and November 30th, which will be in person. The hope is that by holding these conversations, we can get the full picture of what a potential regulation of the sale of flavored tobacco would mean for everyone in the city of Columbus. So again, thank you all for being here with us tonight and for allowing us to have this space to learn together and to elevate this very important issue. With that, I'd like to invite Councilmember Nick Bankston to the podium.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and just want to say good evening to everyone, and thank you all for joining us. Tonight's community conversation regarding the proposed flavored tobacco ban is very important to me. As chair of the Small and Minority Business Committee, I think it's important that we hear all sides on this issue. Let me just say candidly, as a black man, as a father, and a council member, I understand the expeditious advocacy from our healthcare community, and I understand the outcry from our small business community as well. Yet more importantly, as your fellow neighbor and friend, I understand the process of democracy includes listening to everyone. I have always said as a leader that we must move with the belief that everyone should be welcomed to the table and have an opportunity to speak. It does not mean we will always agree on the issue, but instead that we respect every opinion out there. That is what equity means. That is in every decision that I make, and I want to move with that principle top of mind here this evening. For all those in attendance and those listening at home, I want to let you know that I'm committed and our council is committed to listening to our small and minority businesses, owners, to our community members, and to our healthcare professionals. And at this time, I want to assure the community that we are listening. As Councilmember Favor pointed out, there are many ways to engage in this process, and so I want to thank you all for being here and engaging. This is a pivotal moment for our community, and we want to make sure that we get this right. So thank you all for being here this evening, and I'm turning it back over to my other colleague, Councilmember Lourdes Barroso de Padilla.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I will be very brief because I know that we want to get into the conversation. We want to hear from all of you. I am Councilmember Lourdes Barroso de Padilla, and if you don't know a little bit about my story, I'm the daughter of immigrants. My father was a small business owner. He owned the first Latino food store here in Columbus, and I know that we sold everything at our store, right? And that store was my after-school program, my summer camp. That was my parents literally paid our bills out of the till. So I think as small business owners, I understand the concerns that you all are bringing to the table. I also am the little sister to 2 lifelong smokers and have seen also the effects of smoking and what it has done for my sisters and their health. Both as an asthmatic, my sister died of an asthma attack when she should have never smoked in the first place, and she was a smoker since she was a teenager. And my older sister, who was a diabetic, who is also a lifelong smoker, who should not be a smoker. And so I know the effects of what this addiction can do and how difficult it is to let go of it. And so I share that with you because I think that all of us bring our lived experiences to the table when we're making decisions and when we're listening to each other. And I can understand how this particular issue is challenging on both sides. And so I want to just echo what my colleague said, that we are listening to folks, right? Whatever happened in the past, whatever happened in the last meeting is irrelevant. We are here now, and we are here to listen. And we're here to continue to listen because that's our job as legislators, is to listen to everyone in the community, to take all of that into account so that we can make the best choices for everyone in the community. So I want to thank everyone for coming out here. I see faces that we saw at the last meeting. I want to thank you for your continued advocacy. I want to thank you for the things that you do for our community, for your own communities, and for Columbus as a whole. Thanks.
Thank you once again, council members. And right now, I'd like to bring up to the podium proposed legislation. That's what we're about to talk about. And we're going to talk to Edward Johnson, who is the Assistant Health Commissioner. Please give him a round of applause.
Good evening. As City News said, I'm Edward Johnson with Columbus Public Health, so thank you, Chair, for providing the venue, and Council Members Bankston and Barroso de Padilla. Very simply, Columbus Public Health was asked to draft legislation that would enable the enforcement of regulating the sale of flavored tobacco in the City of Columbus, and so What we were able to provide and what has gone live on the city website has been first a series of definitions where we had to define what flavored tobacco is. And so really simply, it's any tobacco product that imparts a taste or smell other than tobacco, including menthol flavors. So this also includes other flavors, whether they're fruity or savory or sweet as well. We also expanded that to include a definition of tobacco products, so that will include forms of nicotine, natural or synthetic, intended for human consumption. With those definitions, we included a prohibition that authorizes the Board of Health to adopt rules. I'm sure many of you are familiar that Columbus is a city that requires a tobacco retail license to sell tobacco. This is how we enforce the Tobacco 21 regulations in the city. So with those rules, if adopted by council, with this ordinance as adopted by council, it would allow the Board of Health to adopt that definition and then incorporate flavored tobacco and enforce it with our sanitarians, our environmental health specialists, in the same way in which the prohibition against selling to individuals under 21 is enforced. And so that's really kind of the bulk of the ordinance, is a definition and then a prohibition against the sale thereof.
Okay. Now, we're about to have our discussion, a conversation, and you will have 2 minutes. This is the mic that when I call your name, you'll be coming up to. And when I raise my hand up, I'm not, asking for my turn to speak. I'm letting you know you have 30 seconds, because I don't want to be rude, because it's about respect. I don't want to be rude and cut somebody off while they're talking, trying to make their point. So I will put my hand up and let you know you have 30 seconds. And then after that, if you could, please, so we have a young lady who might come over and just tap you, so we don't have to go through that, because we want the panel to be able to answer your questions that you might have, and we want everybody in here to be heard, everybody that signed up. And if you have not signed up yet, we still have the sign-up sheets right over there at registration that you can sign up to talk. With that being said, let's open the floor to discussion. And the first person I would like to call up is Mohammed Mobark. Sorry, before he comes up, I'm sorry, Mohammed, one check, Chair.
Thank you so much, City. I just want to make sure that our guests know that if we don't have a response or we don't have a question to ask, we are really listening. We're trying to learn as much as we can about the nuances of how this could impact your business. So we might not have a rebuttal, if you will, or any substantive feedback to offer. I don't want anyone to take offense to that. We're writing, we're listening, and we want this to be a productive conversation, but more importantly, an opportunity for you all to be heard. Thank you.
And I just wanted to say, if I mess up your name, I'm sorry in advance. I'm sorry. But Mohammed, please come up. Please give him a round of applause. Mohammed, come and do his thing. You have 2 minutes.
So I own like 20 stores in Columbus right now as we speak. Yeah, we sell flavored tobacco and everything, but everything, I mean, there's alcohol people go buy, you go smoke. I mean, it should be people, their responsibility if they want to smoke or not or anything. People buy Black Label all the time, drinking this, that, smoking. So smoking is nothing like drinking, same thing. And you're trying to ban it on Columbus, it's going to affect the Columbus market. I mean, other people around and surrounding areas is going to boom. So you're not doing no difference to nobody. End of the day, however you look at it, you're just banning some flavors. Still got cigarettes and everything's still there. We pay for our license. Every store pays for their license and everything to do everything legal. I mean, flavors is nothing. You're going to go to Westerville, New Albany, Reynoldsburg. You're going to go anywhere in Ohio. You go sell it. You're just saying Columbus, Ohio is going to affect us. We pay taxes. We employ people. People's going to get shut down, some of these businesses and everything. People's not going to pay their leases. Unemployment is going to go skyrocket and everything. People's going to start asking the government for help and everything. So, I mean, we're asking not to ban nothing. We got family to feed and everything. This helps us, Everything helps us. It helps the business and everything. Been there for a while, Every store we buy got everything in it. It should be people, if they want to buy or not, that's on them. It should be their responsibility, nobody else's responsibility. I mean, people drink all the time, every day, so why are you not banning alcohol? State Highway was making maybe millions and millions from State Ohio liquor control. So why they're not banning that? Why they're banning cigarettes or vape or anything? Everybody else is going to sell it. You're not saying all the United States is going to ban it. You're saying just Columbus, Ohio. That's a problem. Everybody else in the United States can sell it. So why Columbus? Why everybody else is not involved? Why all United States? If it's all United States, I'm with it. I'm banning everything. But we ban all United States, not just Columbus, Ohio. It's going to affect us only. It's going to shut our businesses down. People around us is going to do way better than us.
Time.
Thank you.
Mr. Muhammad, I did have, Mr. Muhammad,
Mr. Mahoney, here's a question.
I just had a question. And I do want to make sure that I'm clear. I will probably be asking the same question to everyone. So you said you own currently 3 stores?
What's that?
You own
No, over 20.
you
Over 20 in Columbus, Ohio, yeah.
Okay, well, I was going to ask what neighborhoods they're in, but that's a lot for you to name.
No, I can name all of it.
Huh?
I can name them.
Okay, yeah, if you could just let me know what
I own
neighborhood.
Mobile Mart on West Broad Street, I own Sunoco on West Broad Street, I own M&S on Georgesville Road, I own Demers Market on Demers, I own Sunoco in Reynoldsburg, I own Quick and Cold in Reynoldsburg, I own Tobacco Plus in New Albany, I own Express Mart on Fifth Avenue, I own the Buckeye Market on 161, Beechcraft Newsday on 161, 3C on Car Road, 3C Car Road Market on Car Road, Maze Market, M&M Market in Oakland Park, Mobile on Weber, Shell down the street from here. It's too much to name.
Well, that's
a
very
lot of-
impressive that you can remember all of them.
I mean, all these got employees.
And where is your place of residence? Are you in the city of Columbus?
Yeah, a lot of it is in the city of Columbus.
Okay.
I got one down the street right here, Shell gas station on East
No,
Liverpool.
I'm saying your place of residence. Where do you
Oh,
live?
yeah, Columbus.
Okay. And then in those 20 stores, about how many people from the immediate neighborhood would you say you employ? From the immediate neighborhood that store is in?
Every store, maybe 2 at least from the neighborhood. But still, folks from Columbus is still there too.
Okay.
You know,
Thank
just
you.
not from the neighborhood.
So I just wanted to have 2 clarifying points here. You said flavor is nothing. What did you mean by that?
Telling me about alcohol, you're telling me there's black label, there's everything involved in it. So it's on somebody to vote on. It should be not on you guys to ban it. If you want to ban it, ban the alcohol. State liquors, how it was making money off that.
I'm wrong, Edward, but the state doesn't regulate cigarettes the way in which, or tobacco, excuse me, the way in which it regulates.
Yes, that's correct. The state is exclusively the regulator of alcohol in the state of Ohio.
So at this point in time, it is up to municipalities to do what's best for its specific area. The other thing that I wanted to just lift up once again is that this is not something that Columbus alone is exploring. Number one, the FDA is already moving in this direction of banning menthol. And then secondly, we know that our regional suburban communities around Columbus are also having these conversations as well. So it's not just like the 7 of us decided to just have this conversation. This is an intentional effort brought by the Coalition for Tobacco-Free Kids, and having these important conversations with not just Columbus, but our surrounding partners as well.
Yeah, but if you're trying to do that, go ahead and ban the drugs. Why are you not banning the drugs? Why are you letting people smoke all day? Be more focused on drugs and everything before you focus on vape. There's a whole bunch of other stuff.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Next to the podium, Shayna Wilson. Show us some love, please. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, last week I got the pleasure to speak, and I had somebody from a press end up contacting me and writing an article about me, so I thought I would bring it to share today. It says, Columbus officials must want me to go on government assistance because they're going to put me out of a job. I have been the manager of the Shell on Harrisburg Pike, which is for 24 years. The employees and I have the honor of working in a healthy environment with an honorable man that treats us with respect and care. One of the reasons why we work here is we are a family-type atmosphere that offers good pay, flexible hours. I started working here when my son was just 3 months, and now he is 25. Like the other employees, I was a single mom who relied solely on this job to support my family. If Columbus City does this ban of these products, they will just simply take my regular customers away, and we will be laid off. It's a guarantee. That's because 1/4 of our store sales comes from flavored tobacco, menthol cigarettes, or vanilla-flavored e-cigs. If the store owner is forced to remove these products from our shelves, our customers will literally drive 1/4 of a mile down the streets, and they will buy everything that they wanted to accomplish at our store there now, losing gas, cigarettes, lottery. The prevent of this tobacco use, I have been working at this store for 2 decades. I've seen the number of smokers decline greatly due to education. Overall, the years of owning this generously provided for us employees with extra hours and bonuses, and we are now cut short. The moms and I work with each other for childcare needs and covering each other's hours. We cannot find a job anywhere else like this to support our families. The trickle-down effect of the flavored tobacco ban in Columbus will be detrimental to my store.
Thank you. Tom.
Can I ask you a quick question? I just wanted to ask a question about you said 1/4 of all your sales are flavored tobacco? Is that a hard fact, or is that like a guess?
No, that's a hard fact. We actually 2 weeks ago calculated it. I would say about 27.2% of our business is flavored tobacco, menthol, cigarettes, yeah. And I think it's crazy that menthol cigarettes should not be put with e-flavors. That's totally different. Smoking tobacco, vape is totally different from tobacco.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Billerman.
While I'm thinking about it, I would like to say my numbers would be about the same, but what she's not telling you is that all those people that aren't going to buy those products are now going to somewhere across the street or going somewhere else. So it's going to be a lot more than 27%, and that's a fact. I just wanted to make that point. I didn't have that written down, but okay. So you guys have the choice to go forward with this ban or not, and it shouldn't matter what other municipalities have done. You guys have to decide whether it's right for Columbus and whether it's the right thing to do. But you would be taking a legal product away from someone else. You may not use it, but they do, okay? And it shouldn't be up to you guys or anybody else to control what other people do. If they are not harming others, then that should be their choice. The indoor ban on smoking that I heard about last week, good idea, because it hurts other people. The coalition, okay, I heard last week, and I've read, it says that Black and LGBTQ communities are targeted by the flavored products, okay? But I'm saying, aren't all people, besides minorities, targeted with advertisements for tobacco products, the same products that we're talking about and different products? Okay, I see you shaking your head, but the Marlboro Man, all these companies, they target everybody, okay? And I would ask a question, isn't it racist and prejudiced to say that minorities and people that have lower incomes don't have the ability to make the choice on what's good for them and whether or not they want to do it or not? Why are they less equipped to make that choice? And my time always goes faster than I think it's going to go.
You got 15 seconds, sir.
So they taking something else from us, like flavored tobacco, like of all there's so many harmful things in the world, and you just had more choices restricted from us. That's what we're saying. I already got parents, guys.
Man, I bought 4 or 5 more of those guys. I don't have 1,600 signatures in a box, but I could get 1,600 of those from people who actually are using these products, not from signatures from people who don't use the products. And if I come across as angry, it's just because I'm passionate about this, okay? Because I don't think you should take away people's choice, that's all.
My response will be that we presented a lot of current data around how big tobacco has, I'm sorry, the light is right in my eye. You can come back to the mic so I'm not looking at the light. How big tobacco has intentionally targeted Black and brown communities. I would implore you to look at the historic context of how this has all came to be. We're now living in the ramifications of what was done in the late 50s and 60s around tobacco and menthol, specific to Black and brown residents.
Now, those people are all adults now. They can make that choice.
That's like,
I had one more point real quick. If it's about then targeting these people as they're young, do a bunch of stings, spend a bunch of money, go after the retailers that are selling to the young kids, and get rid of them.
This is purely out of curiosity. Are you a smoker? Have you ever been a smoker?
Wintergreen snuff, flavored tobacco for 20 years, and then I quit on my own.
Got it. The only reason I'm asking is that I don't think that we can negate, I mean, again, I come from a family of smokers. My husband was a smoker, right? I don't think that we can negate the challenges of quitting smoking. So I think when we just toss out things like, those are adults now, or those are, my sisters began smoking in the 80s when there was targeted ads. On my neighborhood, where you saw, cool menthols, Newports, and you saw, liquor ads, and you saw those everywhere. And I think I'm saying this to prove a point. This is because I think that when we have this discussion, it's a back and forth, right? And so I'm saying those things were prevalent. And so I think when you start an addiction that young, just like any other addiction, it's just hard to stop, right? And I think that the data tells us, experience tells us, because for every one person that we're also showing that says they wouldn't want to quit, there are people who say, I desperately want to quit, right? And so I think that there's just two sides to the story. So I just wanted to illustrate that point as well, because I think at some point there is both life experience and there's also data, and we need both to inform our decisions. So that's the only thing that I would offer to the things that you're sharing with us.
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Sarah Rutledge. Give a round of applause. Hi, sir.
Hi, I want to thank Columbus City Council for the opportunity to speak today. I'm here as a lifelong Columbus resident and a small business owner. I smoked cigarettes for over 20 years. I tried literally everything to quit, and nothing worked until I found flavored vapor products. I smoked my last cigarette in 2012, and the difference in my health is astounding. Once I found the benefits in my own health making the switch, in 2014, my husband and I decided to open Top Notch Vapor in Columbus. We currently employ 9 people, we pay them a living wage, and we paid them during the entire shutdown of COVID-19 in 2020. Annually, we pay over $100,000 in sales tax. We use third-party age verification for every single customer. As a mom, I take that responsibility very seriously. Legal regulated businesses like mine play a vital role in ensuring that customers have access to well-made products and keeping adult products out of the hands of young people. If these products are pushed into an underground market where there is no oversight and no motivation to comply with regulations, purchasing and consuming nicotine will be unnecessarily more risky for adults. If a flavor ban were to pass in Columbus as a specialty vapor store, this would not just affect my bottom line. My business would be forced to close. My employees would be out of work, some of whom have worked for us for over 5 years. And the money that we pay in sales tax would disappear. Most of our customers have told us that they would buy online. Some have said they would go literally 100 yards to Dublin or to a shop not within city limits. If sales are diverted away from locally owned businesses like mine to online, there is no guarantee they will age verify for purchases or remit sales tax to the state of Ohio. As a mother of 2 young men, neither of whom use tobacco products, I supported T21. Keeping tobacco products out of high school seniors' hands, I felt would help curb youth use. Recent national survey data shows that youth use of vapor products is declining from the peak in 2019. T21 is working. Smoking among students is at a historic low, below 5%. It is vital that policymakers consider this trend. We have the same goal: keep kids away from tobacco products, but there has to be consideration taken for adults like myself who want healthier choices. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you just let me know, where is the location of your store?
We are right near 161 and Sawmill Road. It's this bizarre little cutout of Columbus. Everyone thinks we're in Dublin and we're not. It's just a few shopping plazas, I guess.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. If you had any more questions, though, I really appreciated the things that you had said. My husband's father is currently fighting lung cancer, had brain radiation treatments, and is hopefully starting a chemo drip this week. So we have the same goal. I would really like to continue this conversation with you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
I do have one.
Yeah.
So, I acknowledged last week that I assume that most of our business owners that were there are responsible business owners. But the fact remains that our kids are still getting access to tobacco products.
Correct.
So what is the workaround there? Because I assume everyone in here is checking IDs. But kids are still getting it, and they're still smoking in our classrooms, they're vaping in our classrooms. We're not making this up. So although it could be at a low, it is still a problem in Columbus. So what would be your response or recommendation to curbing what we're seeing in real time?
Well, I think that T21 has done a very good job at that. If we have 18-year-olds that go to school with 13-year-olds, I think that T21 is doing a good job at that. The indoor smoking ban, I also agree, was a great idea for that. I am one of the kids in the 90s that started smoking Camel cigarettes because of Joe Camel, because of targeted ads. Things have happened so that most of the people in my high school smoked cigarettes. In 93, to have someone that didn't smoke cigarettes was completely out of the ordinary. And now, part of what vaping has done is denormalize smoking. I don't see people smoking much anymore. I really don't necessarily see the amount of people driving down the street smoking cigarettes like I did. So I think that the steps have been taken with T21 and with different things like that. And I think that a conversation about harm reduction, or a conversation about how we can get to that ultimate goal of keeping tobacco products out of the hands of kids is something that we need to continue. But I feel like the proposed flavor ban in the city of Columbus is premature, and I felt like it came out of left field. I like to think that I'm fairly well-versed, and I have the right people around me that keep me informed of legislation that's being proposed, and this just caught us totally off guard.
Were you aware of the FDA's efforts around this?
Yes.
And what has been your response to that? Are you
As far as the menthol?
Are you thinking proactively about how this would impact your business?
We don't sell cigarettes. We sell menthol, or we don't sell menthol, we don't sell cigarettes or anything like that. We only sell flavored vapor products. So I would also tell you that menthol flavoring is, I think, less than 5%. That is anecdotal or just out of my head. Menthol is less than 5% of what we sell, and tobacco flavors are less than 1% of what we sell. It tastes horrible. I tried to use it. The flavor that helped me quit was a strawberry banana, and I'm 43 years old. Granted, I wasn't when I quit smoking, but I tried Chantix, the patch, lozenges. Chantix gave me crazy nightmares, absolutely insane. I mean, I was desperate to quit smoking. It killed both of my grandparents very young. There is an answer, but limiting someone like me who smoked for 20 years, who made the choice to do something that's healthier, to make it so that I have no option other than to buy online, go to an underground market, or go somewhere else to buy it, I just don't think that's the answer. That can't be the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Edward, yes.
Yes.
One, I want to say thank you for sharing your story, and congratulations. I think that needs to be celebrated every time you share that, so I'm very happy to hear that. I guess from our perspective, we have a challenge in that vaping is not a nicotine replacement therapy. Why do you think that is? Why won't these companies kind of engage and make this a nicotine replacement therapy that medical professionals could say, listen, I understand you're having the challenges with Chantix. I understand cold turkey is not an option for you.
Say that the biggest hurdle is the fact that health groups are against us. I am a vapor. I've always felt like smokers are considered second-class citizens. I've always felt like, there have been certain things that have happened in the medical community where there's different studies that are being put out by different people, there's different interests involved, there's different lobbying involved. So I wouldn't say that I personally would be opposed to vapor products as a nicotine replacement therapy. It just seems like that mountain is so high, and considering the fact that when I opened my business in 2014, that's when the FDA took control of tobacco. The day that I opened, I thought I was going to have to close. In my lease, I don't have a clause for if legislation is passed and I can't operate my business because of legislation, I'm screwed with a 5-year commercial lease. So I think the reason why it hasn't gone to the nicotine replacement therapy is because the vapor product business and all the people within that sphere have been just trying to stay in business, to help people like me that smoked for 20 years. I no longer hack every morning when I wake up. I can run. This is crazy, but I represented Team USA with my dog. I was just running a dog in Austria for agility. I couldn't have done that if I smoked 2 packs a day. I couldn't do any of the things I do now if I still smoked.
And thank you. I'm just trying to understand as well, because I think one of the challenges is we see research working with OSU College of Public Health and others where in the European Union and in the United Kingdom, these products have been certified by their regulators as nicotine replacement therapy, but with a lot more restrictions. And when asked to go through that process here in the United States,
Yes.
Those industries declined to do so.
It was something I believe called TPD. I think that we could get that information to you guys. I don't know that I can speak well on it because I haven't thought about it since they did it several years ago, but I can tell you that there are vapor stores in the lobbies of hospitals, and people that go in there for smoking-related issues are urged, like they beg them, please go down, we have products for you, you can try the flavors, we need to get you off the cigarettes. There is a conversation to be had here. We have the same goal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy Roberson? Tracy Roberson? Okay. Munir Ahmed? Nope. Okay. John Scott? Round of applause, please.
Hello, my name is John Scott. I'm one of the owners of Vaporify. Thanks for the opportunity. As I mentioned before in the last council meeting, nearly all of our sales are related to offering flavors. About 90% of what we sell is all based on disposables or e-liquid. This regulation will put us out of business. We will close. There's no doubt in my mind. You mentioned, it's hard to quit smoking. I imagine it is. I used to be a smoker, actually. Not very much, but I did switch to vaping, and that's when I quit smoking. But if people are having trouble quitting smoking, banning menthol cigarettes, they're going to go to tobacco. If they can't quit smoking, they're going to keep smoking. They're going to smoke what they can get their hands on, right? So I don't think that's a valid argument there. Adults should have the right to choose. They have the right to choose to drink alcohol. They have the right to choose to eat unhealthy foods. They should continue to have that right. Poor marketing tactics, those have been banned for decades. Recently, when e-cigarettes first hit the market, there were some marketing tactics that were not very respectful. The FDA put a closure on that by eliminating some of those bad actors, such as Juul. The FDA has done a lot of things that have helped curb youth vaping. That's down 50% over the last 3 years because of some of the regulations. I think education and programs, instead of legislation, should be put in place to help people quit who want to quit. I don't believe that banning flavors is the way to go. The Department of Health authorizes these licenses for tobacco stores. So we were authorized license to sell tobacco products. We only sell e-cigarettes and vape products. We were authorized by the city for our building permit. We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to build out our stores, and now these same institutions that allowed us to open our stores are trying to instill regulation that are going to close our stores. As far as children, kids are still getting their hands on vaping products, right? So, but again, that's down 50% over the last 3 years. 29% of high school students drink, 17% binge drink, 3,900 kids die every year from underage drinking, right? You give a 16-year-old 13% alcoholic beverages, and they're going to get in their car and drive and potentially kill themselves and someone else. My daughter just had a friend of a friend's who hit a cop car just the other day going in the wrong way. Alcohol was involved in that. 12% of Americans are alcoholics. I mean,
Time. Thank you.
Go ahead. Sir, hold on. Sir.
And for me, it's, again, as small business chair, I want to get a context of what we're talking about. So my question is going to be the same to everyone that's a small business. So you can just say it at the beginning if you want to. Well, where's your store located?
we have 6 stores. We're in Reynoldsburg, Gahanna, High Street, Grove City, Hilliard, and Polaris area.
Okay, thank you.
My other quick question, because I know that you had given some stats before, are those national stats or are those Ohio-based stats?
National stats.
National stats? Do we have Ohio stats?
Yes. So I can tell you specifically in Ohio, over the past 5 years, by tax revenue collections of the other tobacco product category where vaping falls, there's been a 52% increase in tax revenue collections in the vaping category.
Correct. Well, I think it was was it a couple years ago that Ohio now has a 10 cent per milliliter tax on e-liquids. So we pay thousands of dollars a month in e-liquid tax, along with sales tax, obviously, and then employment tax and tax withholdings for employees. So yeah, we pay a lot of taxes.
So you made the remark around more education. What else do you suggest we do to reach our youth? Because we have cessation programs, and our adults. We have cessation programs throughout Columbus. Over 100 of them, if I'm correct, Edward. So there are cessation programs that exist. We know that we've got education outside of our schools, inside of our schools, but yet and still, our kids are still getting access and still making the decision to smoke or to vape. So what would be your suggestion for us addressing this
Yeah, I agree.
problem?
I agree with T21 that helped curb that as well, as the previous speaker had mentioned.
I'm sorry, what was that?
A T21 that helped as well as the
Yeah.
previous speaker. But as far as curbing youth, we do a great job with carding and making sure that we're not selling to underage. As with any product, kids are going to get their hands on it. At some point, you have to determine what's a susceptible level with anything, right? Alcohol is way higher youth problem than vaping is, than cigarette smoking is. It's a much higher number. It's almost double. Underage drinking is almost double that of vaping, but you don't ever hear anyone really talking about that. But a continued education and programs to try to get the youth from starting is the answer, in my opinion. But taking away what's helped adults transition off of traditional cigarettes is not the answer.
I have another question. For like your store where you're selling strictly, you just sell vape products similar?
No tobacco.
Yeah, no tobacco. So, I mean, my assumption, do kids come into your store?
No, they're not even allowed to come in. So if you come in, let's say you're 24 and you have a 15-year-old child with you, we actually ask that the child not be allowed in the store.
Okay.
So we don't even allow them in the store, much less sell to them. Yeah, they're not permitted.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And once again, no, it's okay, it's okay. It's just a recognition that alcohol and tobacco are regulated differently in the state of Ohio. But Edward, I'm wondering if you could center us once again on why we are here, which is the public health crisis that Health Commissioner Dr. Mashika Roberts has elevated to City Council.
Absolutely. I think for us, the challenge that we see at a public health level is 1 in 4 Columbus adults smoke, and that's going up, and we're just now getting a hold of 2019 data to bring some of this forward, and we are seeing increases in the tobacco usage rate. When we look at the health equity issue and we look at life expectancy of African American communities, we know that it is, in fact, lower, and then the quality of life as defined by healthcare costs and chronic and acute diseases experienced is also higher, and we see that 1 in 3 Black adults in Columbus is using tobacco. You know, like I said, very recently we got the 2019 data. That's about 186,500 adults only, because we still have to go through the youth data to pull that together. So we know that number's bigger than 186,000. When we know that 1 in 3 African Americans smoke, we know that there's just under 300,000 African Americans. So we know that that is a really sizable number, 1/3 of it being 100,000. So we are very concerned when we look at the health of a community and we say there is a very disparate impact, there's a very disparate effect. Heart disease being the #1 killer of people in the Western world, in the United States, in Ohio, and in Columbus. We know that smoking is essentially what brings that forward. That's when people die from heart disease, and that's why we say, from a public health perspective, your doctor asks you 3 questions when you walk into the exam room. They ask you your name, they ask you some sort of patient identifier, and then they ask, do you smoke? They don't even need to know, do you run, how old are you, do you do this, do you do that? They just know from a medical perspective, if you smoke, you need to stop.
They won't go to tobacco, they'll just quit cold turkey.
I'm sorry, I couldn't
You
hear
have
that.
data that says out of all those people that smoke, if they can't get their hands on menthol, they'll quit cold turkey, they won't go to tobacco. Because you're gonna keep tobacco, you're not gonna keep menthol flavors. So those people that smoke now, that's an epidemic, right? Or
They would
crisis.
switch to tobacco.
How many of those will actually say, oh, no more menthol? Okay, I'll quit smoking. Or how many of them will say, oh, I'm just gonna switch to regular tobacco?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sure you're aware, it is incredibly difficult to prove a counterfactual point as you've raised. It's based on a hypothetical, well, okay, if this happens, what do we do here and there? Do I have that data on hand? I do not.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Next up to the podium, next up to the mic, Naskash Ahmed. Naskash, sorry. Round of applause.
My name is Nakash Ahmed, and as a joint family, we own 10 gas station and convenience store in just Columbus territory. So my question here is the way Columbus City is zoned. For example, I will bring a couple examples here. Morse Road and Hamilton, okay? There's 3 gas stations there. 1 Shell, 1 BP, and 1 Speedway. So the Shell gas station is in Gehenna. Across street, Speedway and BP gas station is in Columbus area, okay? So with this ban, that Speedway and BP, they're both gonna lose the menthol, but the same product is available across street. Another example, my cousin Abdullah is sitting here. He got a gas station by Sambal and 270. So east of Sambal is Columbus area, west of is it Dublin. So the product like menthol and all that, he's gonna lose those products, but the same product is available half mile down at Speedway. So, so I'm confused here. So I can bring like more example, Westerville Road 161. So.
You can finish your.
Finish, you got 30 seconds.
So the way Columbus is zoned, so Columbus or the suburbs. So the same product you guys gonna eliminate in Columbus area is gonna be available within couple blocks, half mile down, all around that those suburbs. That's it.
Thank you for the question there. So yes, that would be correct. If we were to institute a ban in the city of Columbus, it would be only respective to the boundaries that fall within the city of Columbus. Now, with that being said, and as I've said before, we're not the only community that's having this discussion, but what is important to this conversation is doing what's best for the residents in the city of Columbus. I don't have the stats of the negative health impacts of smoking tobacco in Gahanna or Reynoldsburg or those other areas. I just know that those are conversations that are happening as well in those jurisdictions.
Okay, but I was reading an article in Columbus Dispatch, so somewhere around the 700 plus stores in Columbus area, they're gonna lose this product. Within 5-mile radius of Columbus, 800 other locations, they're gonna have the same product. Okay, so this is not fair. This is not fair on us, the small business owner in Columbus, to lose this product.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Suhail S. Nikita Mahadet. Nikita Mahadet. I think I said it right. No? Okay. Mary Gibson. There we go.
Members of City Council, thank you for allowing me to speak today. My name is Mary Spires. I am a resident of Columbus and the store manager of South High Carryout for the past 25 plus years. We have approximately 15 employees, and most have been with our company for over 10 to 15 years. We are family. We have watched each other's kids grow up and depend on each other. I am here to request that you do not move forward with this ban. We are not in the business to encourage our youth to pick up this habit. We are 8 minutes from Obet's and 10 minutes from Grove City. We will definitely lose our customers. We will have to let go of employees. Customers will make that drive for the products that we would be unable to offer them. That means losing sale on all of our products our customers buy when they come into store. This proposal is not the solution. Banning menthol cigarettes, flavored dip, and cigars puts us at a huge disadvantage and will benefit the businesses around us. Headline news this morning, study shows 1 in 5 deaths on alcohol related. I was also hit by a drunk driver in 2000, unable to walk for 6 months due to an accident where the drunk driver instantly lost his life. The bottom line is there is so many things out there that are hazardous to our lives, and no one wants to be told that they can't do something when they are of legal age. A better solution is to focus on educating our community on the harm of these products and cause and ensuring that retailers are licensed and responsible selling products, and let the state make the decision so we will remain equal businesses to all of us around us.
So I have a question. So we've settled that this is not regulated by the state, and we live in the state of Ohio, so not a whole lot is getting done at the moment. So what else would you suggest that we do to tackle this issue? Once again, the education programs are out there. There are hundreds of cessation programs, but yet and still, this is still a pervasive problem in our community.
Right. And the problem of it that retailers are having is that we are going to lose this business when you can go 5 minutes down the road and get the same product. If you are addicted to smoking of any sort, whatever kind that you want, you're going to make that drive. I'm a smoker, and if they would ban my Marlboro Lights, and I had to drive 10 minutes down the road, I'm driving that 10 minutes. But while I'm there, I'm gonna get whatever else I need, my lottery, my check cashed, whatever it is that they have that I can do at that moment. That's the bottom line. We're gonna be losing our businesses here in Columbus.
But that doesn't address the question, though, because there are a lot of residents that don't have that ability to just drive to Gahanna to get their cigarettes. So there will be some adjustment that will be made. But I think what I'm trying to get at is the heart of what we're trying to solve here. is addressing the use of tobacco by our young folks and the intentional targeting that has been pervasive in certain communities.
Basically, I would say educating people, letting them know that this is a harmful thing. And I know that most of the parents are the ones that's buying it for the youth. That is the reality. We are the retailers, we know that. The parents will buy that for their child, even though we can stand there and say, you know, this is not good for this child. It's still them saying, this is my child, and I will let them do what I want them to do.
Can I ask another quick question? Just, this is my wonder, right, in the conversation that we're having. So I know that folks have said things like, well, especially like when you're on the border and you can go across the street or down the road or whatever. What are you having conversations for what happens when Reynoldsburg does ban flavored tobacco, or Dublin does ban flavored tobacco, or other places do ban them? Then what is the, I'm just wondering, as a small, again, as a business owner, right? You have contingency plans, you start to have conversations about.
Online shopping is going to hit hard times. If I can't get it in Columbus and I don't have the means to travel, I'm going to get it right online, and I'm going to find out how I can get it at my door. I want to know how I can get it at the door.
But then how does that affect your businesses? That's the question I'm asking, is like, how are you backfilling? Because if, we've heard some statistics, like if 1/4 of your business, right, is that, and, again, I know that usually people go in and you're picking up a couple different things because you're there, right?
Right.
A candy bar, a soda, a beer, whatever, right? You're doing all of that. So if people aren't going someplace else, they're still going to come to your store. Is that a theory that you're working off of, or is there something else?
Well, because when it's an addiction, you're going to find it.
Right.
When it's an addiction, if I want a menthol cigarette, I'm going to find it. It doesn't matter where it's going to be at. I'm going to make a way to get it. And if I don't have a car, I'm going to ask my friend, hey, are you going?
Right,
Can
no,
you get
I
me that?
understand that point, but I'm just saying, I'm sorry? Yeah, I mean, just your business model, that's what I mean. For the store owner in particular is the question that I'm asking. Because I know that we've had lots of conversations of, well, they're gonna go to Reynoldsburg. So if Reynoldsburg bans it, that's just my question is I'm thinking, well, if I can't go to Reynoldsburg and I can't go to Dublin and I can't, I live in Eastmore, Bexley is dry, right? People can go over to Bexley. If Columbus became dry too, I mean, if I'm in Bexley, I'm still going to go to the grocery store, I'm still going to go to the corner store, I'm still going to go do whatever, right? That's the question that I'm trying to get at. And other folks, if you have thoughts about that, that's the other thing that I'm just wondering, because we've had we've brought this up a couple different times, right? Like if other people are thinking about that, then I think it goes back to what is the impact on your business? Then we're not driving business away, because if other people are banning it, they're still going to go to you for that soda or that candy bar. Right, but people are still going to go to your store. I'm not asking about I understand the deficit in that, but I'm saying people aren't going to stop coming to your store though, right? I'm sorry.
Hold on.
For everybody, she was still talking to this young lady right here. Everybody else, you're going to get your chance at the mic. This young lady right here.
So if we're just asking the question, if the writing is on the wall, that inevitably this is going to be an issue in our community, whether it happens today, in 2023, or 2 years from now. If the writing is on the wall, are we having proactive conversations around how we shift the small business model?
And you don't have to answer that.
You
can
don't,
say it's okay.
right.
But it's
Right.
Yeah, I know what you guys are, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, I'm just trying to tell you from our point of view, as far as the retailers and stuff go.
I want you to feel like you're on the spot. I was just asking the question to be, again, we're trying to look at this from all the different angles, and so that's my question. My question is, where do people go? I think I
Gets passed as far as like all the surrounding cities. I'm going to go to Grove City to get what I need. I'm going to go wherever I can at this moment. This is, you know what I mean? This is now. So right now, Grove City is still allowed to sell. Obet's is still allowed to sell. And that's the issue, you know what I mean? Because they're going to take that drive and they're going to be losing out on our, you know what I mean? Our business is going to be losing out. Thank you.
Yusuf. Yusuf? Yusuf? Nikhil, yeah, I got it right. Nikhil Mehta? Nikhil Mehete. Humana Chaudhry. There we go. Round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Humayun. So like this lady, she's on South High Street, and I'm in Obis and Columbus, it's Stony Market. So we're gonna have the same problem, like she said. I have a customer, like most of customers might like a tobacco customers. So if you guys ban us, they're gonna go cross street, they're gonna go next door, anywhere like. You was asking how they can get access. So when we are addicted to anything, we will find the way. That's a human nature. There's so many things you can buy online, you can order online. Like a lot of store, like they have a problem, they're sitting like kids, they have a people, they go with like extra money, pay them, like they find a way. They send somebody who's adult there to other stores, can you buy me for this, can you buy me for that? So definitely they will buy. Like people, they can find any type of like weed or this stuff, you know, it's banned, but they look, they go for it, and they will find. So if you guys gonna ban, the city gonna ban all these flavored tobaccos, everything, people go to the other cities, they grab there, they put in the stuff, like this gentleman said, like they're gonna go to the black market, so they will find some way. So it's only gonna affect us, like the small owners. We just had like a COVID pandemic, so small business owner, they just try to stand on their feet. So like if this gonna go ban, we're gonna go like a paralyzed forever. We're not gonna come back to our feet. But I moved from New York to a better opportunity like a year ago. So if this thing's gonna ban to us, so definitely I have no choice to shut down or cut off my employees. Like they are making decent life by living with our store. Like I have a manager like 30 years, 15 years. So their people have to go to their homes. They're not gonna make like their livings. And nobody's gonna like to pay in their pocket. Everybody has to take money. And first of all, like a city is gonna affect with their revenues because a lot of stores, they're paying like a sale taxes and everything. So all this business, if they cut off, they're gonna reduce their sale taxes as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott Ely.
Hi, thanks for this opportunity. So first thing I wanted to say is prohibition doesn't work. Prohibition has never worked, even if it's funded by billionaire Michael Bloomberg. But let's talk about some numbers, because I have the numbers that seem to be missing at the table. So the 2019-2020 data from the Ohio Healthy Youth Environment Survey, specifically for Franklin County, that's as close as I can get to Columbus, 10% of youth have ridden in a car with somebody who's been drinking. 25% have texted while driving. 22.7% have felt sad or hopeless every day, with 11.5% of all of the survey respondents contemplating suicide. 36% of those have actually attempted suicide. But let's talk about youth vaping and tobacco use. From that same data, 2.2% have smoked a cigarette in the past 30 days. The past 30-day one puff or more on a vape in Franklin County is 7.7%. Now that's just one puff out of any of those days in those 30 days. I wouldn't call that current use, I would call that experimentation. But of that 7.7%, only 51.9% have vaped more than one day out of that 30 days. So we take the number of one puff in any of those, now we're talking about more than one day in those 30 days. 51.9% of 7.7% is 3.9%. Not only have we almost eliminated youth smoking, we've almost eliminated youth vaping thanks to Tobacco 21, policies that make sense. This policy doesn't make sense. It just simply doesn't. We should celebrate the fact that we've almost eliminated youth smoking and vaping, not trying to find a new evil monster to go off of and taking away rights from adults.
Can you remind me what organization you represent?
Sorry?
Can you remind me of are you a Columbus resident?
Yeah, so I am the president of the Ohio Vapor Trade Association. Many of our members are here. Many are not here because they're owner-operated businesses. They couldn't shut their business down. So I'm here to kind of speak on their behalf and represent them.
Got it. Thank you.
Vipin Chandra Patel. Rachel Lyles Bruce.
Hello. Most of my customers know me as Ray. Thank you for letting me speak today. I run a liquor store in the Linden District. 12 of my employees live in the Linden District. Their ages range from 68 years old down to 25. They come to work. They depend on us. If we remove menthol or flavored tobacco, that is a big number in my sales. We make 6% on bottles. That's not enough to pay my employees. They depend on what we sell. We sell more tobacco products than anything out of that location, and it's not just for the community. I serve OSU doctors, I serve lawyers, I serve people that work downtown. They know me by name. They come in looking for us. I don't think a city ban will be fair for the community. It will literally hurt the ones that's there, and we can't afford that. We need to approach, y'all wanna help children not do it? That starts with the parents. Parents buy this stuff for these kids. It's not us. Our registers are set up where any sale that happens, the ID has to be scanned. And you can't even be in my store under 21. So it's not all locations. It's not everyone that's doing it. I have parents that's in there, and I guarantee you they're purchasing for their children. We can't stop that because they're gonna do what they wanna do, but we shouldn't lose our businesses because the parents are making the choices they wanna make. That's not fair for us. I'm good, that's all, I'm good.
I have a question. If you believe wholeheartedly, as it sounded, that parents are buying it for their children, where do you see the line? Like, are we to just ignore it?
No, do these things and go after the parents instead of the retail stores. It's not on us if the parents are doing it. We can't literally go out to the car and make sure the parent's not handing it to the child. All we can do is follow the rules we have. And like I said, I run a liquor store. I have way more rules than the tobacco industry, way more. We get in trouble for anything. I don't think it's fair to pull my biggest selling product because parents are buying them. We don't sell to anyone under 21. You can't even have a vertical ID in my store. It has to be sideways. We don't take paper IDs because you can copy those. So we follow our guidelines, but this seems like it's literally punishing retail for stuff that some of the parents are doing.
Go ahead.
I have a quick question. So you said 6%, it's a liquor store, 6% of your sales are bottles, right?
6% from the box.
6% from, okay, I was like, how is that? Okay, can we go back to the tobacco sales that you make? How many of that, do you sell vapor products or do you just sell tobacco?
Tobacco,
How much of that is menthol, would you say?
probably about 30%.
30%?
Of my daily sales.
And I guess, and this isn't really a question, and I thank you for the way in which you conduct your business relative to tobacco, because I think it's important, and I've heard that from multiple folks, so I want to thank you because that's part of my responsibility at the health department. My concern is when I get the report on compliance with Tobacco 21. I know everyone that thinks enough of this ordinance to come out here is a responsible business owner. My concern is a 64% compliance rate. That's not very, hang on, that's not very good. And then when I look at the other cities where I'm like, okay, population, similar number of retailers, and they're hitting 80, 90, 95% compliance. So I hear the response, and I believe you. There are some parents who are probably purchasing tobacco for their children. But there are also retail establishments that we go into with a license that goes this direction, and they pass the tobacco over the counter regardless. And so I guess is that on us to do deeper education, more enforcement buys? What would be your recommendation in that sense?
To the same penalties we have as liquor. If you come in and we don't follow the rules, we can't sell the product.
And we have penalties associated.
Yes, there are penalties, and we found there's a lot of repeat offenders. Right now, they just say, just
So
fine
shut
us.
them down. Shut them down. I mean, if I get 3 penalties, my doors get locked. Why shouldn't it be for them too? They should follow the same rules.
Thank you, thank you.
Ibram. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. We got to talk at the mic. Thank you, though. We appreciate you. Ibram Hamed. Ibram Hamed. Ibram?
You said 64% compliance? Yes.
Mamron Simring. Mamron Simring. Frank Cahal.
Hi, my name is Frank Cahal. Today, I am not here as a vape shop owner, which I am in the city of Columbus. I'm not here as a vice president of OHVTA. I'm here today as a dad. I am here as a disabled American veteran. I am here as a man who has severe PTSD and also panic attack disorders. I started smoking when I was 9 years old after being raped by my next door neighbor for a year and a half. I started smoking to reach out just because I needed something. By the time I graduated from basic training, I was at 2 packs a day. That was 1982. I was injured in service. I was in Nicaragua, I was in El Salvador. Multiple surgeries. I didn't walk for almost 18 months twice before 1992. 13 years ago, on February 6th, I was sitting across from my pulmonologist, and I was told I had a year to live. I had to go home that day, and I had to tell my 14-year-old daughter, my 16-year-old son, and my wife of 25 years that I was terminal. I wasn't going to be here. I had severe diabetes. I had high blood pressure. I was eating 1,000 calories a day and gaining weight. It was 492 pounds. Today, I'm 240. I have so much more to say, but I only have 30 seconds. Electronic cigarettes were the only thing that worked. Chantix, I survived the service, and Chantix gave me thoughts of suicide. I used the patch because I was a district manager for Walmart, and they paid for it. I had such severe chemical burns that I have a tattoo today to cover what it did to my body.
Not a question, but when we hear stories like that, at least when I do, I want to make sure I acknowledge thank you for your bravery in sharing that story, and also thank you for your service.
Yes, did you need to wrap up? I don't want to be.
I need to wrap up.
I just want to say that, but yes, please.
It took me from February 6th, 13 years ago, until November 13th to quit smoking. I smoked 2 to 3 packs of Cool Kings a day by this time. Like I say, I tried the patch, tried the Chantix. I was told every day as a Walmart district manager that I was going to get fired. Every Walmart has what? A cigarette corral. I go buy another pack of Cool Kings. 22 times I tried to quit from February 6th until my friend, ex-service member in California, sent me an electronic cigarette. I have not had a single puff of traditional tobacco since. I got to watch my daughter come out at 14 years old in a small town with 120 people in her class and get to use Walmart grants to start an anti-bullying program. I got to watch my kids graduate. I got to watch my daughter get married in August because of an electronic cigarette. I wasn't going to be here.
Thank you, sir. Edward, could you just help to educate the members on, we've heard now several times that more or less other non-traditional forms of smoking have saved their lives. So are we saying that vaping is healthy?
As Columbus Public Health, we cannot say that. We look at it as a non-FDA approved nicotine replacement therapy. And I understand that there have been studies elsewhere. I understand that there have been regulators elsewhere who have, let's say, turned down the dial on the nicotine, who have said, if you want to use this product here, it has to be regulated. If you're going to use it as a medical device in smoking, there has to be changes to what you offer and how this is done. To date, as we understand it and as we've seen, the industry has chosen not to go through that process. They've been asked to go through that process by the Food and Drug Administration. I think it would be helpful if we could see that, if they would go through that rigorous process, but to date, we have not seen it.
Thank you.
Next to the mic.
Sir, I'm sorry, I want to make sure we can get to everybody.
To the health department, I agree with the smoking in the city of Columbus. My pulmonologist sends me customers that can't quit. So does my GP, so does my gut doctor, and so does my orthopedist. Last year, that was 124 people that I was able to help quit, that couldn't, that were either terminal, needed fusions, needed all these things that you can't have nicotine for. So they sent them so that I could wean them to zero so that they could have those things done, and we're ignoring that.
Mary Spices. Mary Spices. Mary. Oh, thought you was. Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Kristen Dixon. Kristen. Oh, okay.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Dixon, and I'm here to speak to the panel, but honestly, I'm here to speak to all of you. I am a school teacher for Columbus City Schools. I have been a school teacher for a decade, and I will tell you that vaping is single-handedly the most out-of-control behavior I have ever seen in children in a decade. Every day, we are confiscating vapes. We have become vape police. That's our job as educators now. Every second you're teaching, as soon as you turn your back, someone's behind you vaping. This is what I'm dealing with today. Today, all of you business owners, you dealt with your business. My business is youth. My business is children, specifically the city of Columbus children. And I am telling you, today, I had to confiscate vapes from, and I will tell you, I teach middle school, 12, 13, 11, with vapes. And this is what we deal with every day. It's not going away, it's getting worse. So I just want to speak to a couple points I heard. And I know my time is up. I just want to speak to a couple points I heard. Jobs. Everybody's hiring. Amazon's hiring. Everybody's hiring. Even some of you small business owners are hiring. So for you to say that you would have to shut your doors if you didn't have flavored tobacco or people will be without jobs, that's not true. Then I also heard people say that the sales. What were we selling before flavored tobacco? Because all of you were in business before flavored tobacco. What were you selling then? Make your money off of that. Because this vape thing is out of control for our youth, and that's why we're here, is for our youth.
Time. Thank you.
Thank you. What school do you teach at?
Iota.
And when you
I've been
confiscate,
throughout the district.
no, you're fine. When you confiscate vapes, do you or does the administration ask where the child has received?
I always ask my students where they get vapes. And they have physically, literally told me today, I'm not speaking about things I heard, this is today, they can go right to the corner store and get them. It's no problem. They know the guy at the corner store. They don't give them a problem about it. And then people saying like, oh, the mom is giving him a vape. No. No, sir. No.
Oh, please, hold on, please respect her.
No, the mom is not giving them a vape at all. And there might be some moms out there doing it, but what I'm saying is I confiscated 7 vapes today. 7, okay? And I have low enrollment at my school. Sometimes we only have 30 kids show up. That's just me. What about all the other teachers in that building? How many vapes were confiscated from 30 students today? And that's just at my school. What about every school in the district? And I mean, even Columbus City Schools is hiring. Everybody has a now hiring sign. So to make it seem like if the city was to take action for our youth, that it would put people without a job is insanity to me. Like, Old Navy's hiring. And I'm talking about retail because you guys are retailers. I have not been in a retail establishment yet that didn't have a now hiring sign on it. And I challenge you to go to every retail establishment in the city of Columbus and see if they're hiring.
Do you have a question?
Everybody else, 1 second. Panel?
No, you asked my answer.
No. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Ozzy Kahan.
Thanks, Sid. Thank you for letting me talk today. I have 2 issues I want to talk about. We have, like they said before, we have 700 business, 700 building. We already suffering from empty building in the city of Columbus. We're not collecting any of these monies as income, revenue for the city. If you continue with revenue, you shutting down more real estate is gonna be out, no business. We're gonna have empty building laying all around the city and nothing. For banning a cigarette, that's mean banning people to work. 2 things. He's talking about we worry about health issue, cigarette. You know, let me say this, 70% of black people have diabetes, not heart attack. So the more people actually, if you're concerned about 1 to 3, you said who have a heart attack in a minority of black people, they have 70% of them are diabetes. They die more in sugar, eating all these caffeine, Pepsi, hamburger, fast food. All these items are causing more problem than actually the nicotine. Any question?
I do have a question. You said you own 700 properties?
No, not me. I'm talking about the city.
Okay.
I'm talking about the general in the city. I'm talking about real estate. If you pass to Cleveland Avenue, half of the buildings are empty.
I understand.
Yes.
Are you a store owner?
Yes, I am.
You are a store owner. And do you sell flavored tobacco in your
Yes.
store? Do you sell vape products as well, or just
Yes,
flavored tobacco?
correct. Both.
Okay. And I'm asking you because we haven't asked this question, but I know that I asked the folks who ran the vape store, we asked the folks who ran the liquor store. Can you walk me through the process if I come into your store and I want to buy cigarettes or a vape product?
We have ID checkers, and my employees are trained. We have system. It will not allow you to open your cash register without swiping the ID. So there is no way a mistake from us to happen. I've been in this business for 20 years. I never violated the law.
So in all of your stores, you have
Just swiping. Yep.
I understand that you're very passionate right now, but I just want to ask some questions.
No, that's fine.
So you have a swiper, so
Yes.
if I come in, I give you my ID, and you have to swipe it in order for the register to open, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Because it's pop a big screen on your screen. It said check ID.
Mhm.
Before you open. You cannot open that cash register without checking ID.
And then
So they
all your
have to-
employees
yep.
go through a process
Correct.
in all of the stores that you own. And how many stores do you own?
I have two, that's it.
Two? Are they both in the city of Columbus?
Correct.
Where, yeah, where in Columbus? I'm going to ask for
Oh,
it.
that's fine, that's fine. I'm right on Briggs Road,
Uh-huh.
right on, and there's another one right on Harrisburg Pike.
Got it. Okay.
Just to Edward, there was a point made about diabetes, but correct me if I'm wrong, the leading cause of death in Franklin County is actually heart disease, which could be contributed from smoking.
Yes.
Okay,
Correct?
heart disease.
And sugar, correct? You could be, yeah, correct? The more people die actually in diabetes than a heart attack, correct? If I'm mistaken?
The leading cause of death in the Western world, the United States, the state of Ohio, and the city of Columbus is heart disease.
Heart disease, okay. From diabetes, correct? And diabetes or no? Do you have a number what diabetes people actually die from diabetes?
I'm sorry,
From sugar?
from how many people die from sugar?
Yeah, diabetes,
Pressure.
yeah. High blood pressures, all these items came caused by sugar, correct?
We're saying that they're different things. We're saying heart disease.
I mean, he's considered about health. Are we considered the city of Columbus and health of youth when we feed him all these hamburgers, big hamburgers, all these fat, all these items? I mean, you can't consider one item and leave the rest of the problem out.
No, we completely understand that, sir. We completely understand that. I think what we're trying to do here is address the fire that we have right now. And that fire is the public health crisis that the health department is helping to elevate the issue around the use of tobacco in our community. We acknowledge, you're absolutely correct, sugar is a problem in the country. Poor eating in and poor exercise and all of those things, those are issues that, yes, we can continue to have conversations on. Whether or not they rise to public health crisis at this very moment, I'm not sure if that's the case, but what I know is what we've been asked to address at this point in time, which is this issue. So you're absolutely right. There are other public health issues. We can't tackle everything at one time.
Yeah, all right, thank
I
you.
appreciate your testimony.
Abdullah Ansar.
My name is Abdullah, and today I'm representing over 100 business owners of Columbus, Ohio. I've been in contact with other council members as well in last month or so. This web ban is going to affect the businesses of, especially the small businesses in particular, a lot, whereas the big stores won't be as much impacted, but we small business owners who just came out of COVID and with all these financial crises, that's all-time high rate, interest rate is all-time high, and the inflation is high, we are struggling. We want to grow, we want Columbus City to grow, but I think that this ban would affect the small businesses. Another thing that I want to talk about is that you guys talked about saying that about kids' health, and the stores aren't doing enough and selling to underage. Maybe you guys can regulate it more strictly for the underage. Kids bringing in vapes in schools, kids also bringing in guns in schools. You know, if you want to get rid of guns, ban the guns too. Why do you still sell the guns? You know, that hurts more. It's a nationwide problem, especially city of Columbus. So many people die every day from gunshots. Why don't you guys ban guns? Why just cigarettes?
It's in the state of Ohio.
Why is that?
As the city of Columbus, because the state of Ohio decided that municipalities cannot legislate regulations around guns, so we can't touch guns.
Okay, so my point is, this is going to hurt a lot to the small business owners within city of Columbus. I think that you guys are discouraging us for business owners to do business within Columbus. If it was banned all over Franklin County, it would make sense. Then the store across the street won't have it either. We would have a fair business ground. But this would just hurt us.
Thank you. Yes.
I do. So you were saying, is it a coalition of businesses that you're representing, or is it just kind of you're helping to be a voice to those?
So the businesses that I'm representing, I have over 100 business in the list. It's not like a official group, but they're all friends and family.
Pose the question to you as again, if you don't have the answer to this question, it's totally fine. Also, I'm just going to say, for the sake of just us having a conversation, I've understood all the arguments. I know people will go in other places. My question is really, as a business owner, right? If I owned a business, I was a small business owner for a little bit of time. If I understood that something was going to affect my business plan, we started having conversations. You stated if in Franklin County this was banned, if there was a flavor banned, that would, you said fine, and I think you were just saying that as okay, that would make a little bit more sense than if it was just in Columbus. So in the scenario that it is banned, right, in different municipalities where their other businesses are, have you, with other store owners, started to have a discussion about how that would impact your business? And I'm asking that question in just trying to, again, understand from a business owner's point of view, what are there conversations that you're having? Is that something that you all are starting to explore? If there was a ban that went into place where it would be across the county potentially. Have you all started to have that conversation?
You know, actually, no, we haven't. But like I said, that if it was all over Franklin County, it would make sense because suburbs are really close by. You can drive down to Dublin, you can go to Reynoldsburg, Hilliard, Groveport, Gahanna, New Albany, Polaris. If it was all banned, it would make sense. But just City of Columbus, that's discouraging small business owners.
So anecdotally, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here, and if you want to say, I don't want to answer that because I want to think about it, that's totally fine. Anecdotally, if business is not being driven someplace else, you have a deficit because you're not selling menthol or you're not selling flavored tobacco, and people are not going to go, maybe they might buy it online or someplace else. People are still going, is it your theory that people would still go to your store to purchase other things at your store, whether that's a gas station or whether that's, if you have a carry out or something else? Is that fair to?
I didn't get your question.
If there's a ban everywhere, how do you think it would affect your business or not affect your business?
I think I don't know the answer to that because I will have to think about.
Were you gonna?
Yeah, and I think this is the thread that we're trying to pull at just a little bit because, once again, we know that we're not alone in having these conversations around potential bans, and we know that on a federal level, it's also happening. So how are we working to adjust the business model? If the business model needs to be changed in the near future.
I didn't get your question.
Okay, it's okay. It's all right, sir. It's all right. It's all right.
He can answer.
What about the short term between when you guys ban it versus when everybody else follows suit? What about that time period where you put people out of business and you put people out of work? Are you not worried about that? Because it sounds like everybody's mind.
I thought you were going to answer the question, sir. You tricked me. No, you didn't. You tricked me.
What's your plan? There is no plan for the short term because you can't do anything. You're going to lose all those customers that are going to now go across the street. In my case, literally across the street. I've lost them for the short term, so I'm going to have to let people go in that short term. They're not going to have a job. So the plan is for the short term, there's no plan. You're going to lose customers.
No, that's fair. And I'm asking the question because I think we're asking the question just to understand the full picture, right? And I think in every situation, in order for you to make a decision, you want to understand, you have to play devil's advocate in all scenarios. So just so folks know, that's the reason I've brought it up a couple times just because I haven't necessarily gotten a clear answer yet. So that's why I've brought it up, because I'm trying to get different perspectives. But I just want to say thank you. Yes.
No, I just also want to make sure I clarify this as well, that this process, right, is for us to get this information because what's being presented to us, these three folks right here, to council, is something that's been proposed by our health department. This is not a piece of legislation that came from city council, right? So part of that process will be looking at that legislation. As legislators and as a legislative body, we then have the opportunity to draft our own version or to make changes to it. So that's why we're having these scenarios. Because if, in fact, there say is a ban, and what you're telling me is that you need more time to do that, or you need resources as a small business to ramp up, that's things that we want to make sure that we consider. So that's why we're acting this. So I want to be very clear, because I feel like folks think that we're asking these questions because folks' minds are made up. I can't speak for my other colleagues. My mind is not made up, right? And so we're asking these questions so that we can actually listen. So I just want to make sure I pose that. And I get it. This is a tense conversation. These are your businesses. It is your lifeblood. But I just want to make sure I continue to clarify that for folks, that I'm listening and that we're listening, but we also want to make sure that we push and get all perspectives. Okay.
Speak for most people. It just feels like your mind's already made up. So that's where, from
Understand.
it feels like your mind's already made up. So when it gets passionate, that's where it comes from.
Oh, yeah.
No one wants to feel like this is going.
That's one thing. Understandable.
You know, another thing I wanted to add is that we are only probably around 70 people here. Columbus has, like you said, 760 businesses. We weren't notified. You know, I think City of Columbus should have sent out letters in mail where they would have asked all the business owners to come to this meeting because they're all going to be affected. When the license time comes, you send us letters to renew the licenses. So you do have our information. You should have sent out letters to every single business owner to come to this meeting because we all will be affected.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. The next person up to the mic, coming up to the mic. The next person, Ahmad Kadhil. And just to let you know, we still have a little time, so if you really want to say something, we have speaker slips right over there, so that way you don't have to jump out of turn like that, so we can respect everybody.
Also say this to the gentleman's point about our minds being made up. There would be no need for us to even engage in this process, to put ourselves through this if our minds were already made up. We could have just went straight to the public hearing process. And so as I stated last week at the community conversation or town hall, if you will, we needed to have conversations with the community at large, but specific for business owners. So that's why we've got 3 conversations lined up to continue to peel away at the layers of this. It's not a simple yes, no vote for me.
Hey, nice shorts.
I apologize for dressing like this. I just came from community service in Athens, Ohio. I drove an hour and a half to get here for this. But that's the paint. But Columbus, Ohio has grown a lot over the last couple years, becoming a retail powerhouse. This would be becoming a retail powerhouse. With this, you'd be moving businesses outwards, and you'd be ruining the progresses we all made as minorities and business owners. With this ban, we are not stopping the sale, just the location of the sale. Drug dealers will now become vape dealers, and out-of-city sales will now become more prominent. This ban would remove 50% of my businesses. I own vape shops, and we have saved so many people's lives. I have customers that come in every day, and they thank us for what we've done. We also serve other products that give customers off opioids and other stuff, and you'll be shutting down our doors, which will ruin their lives. You're shutting down businesses that pay taxes 3 times more than other businesses. Every vape we get is paid taxes. I believe you said this. Every smoke shop, every business and owner in here are good people. You said 64% of people, of businesses, when we see this, are not compliant. That means 64% of businesses are still gonna sell vapes, untaxed, and you guys will not be able to do anything. That, as the sister said, those are the smoke shops that need to be shut down. Those are the bad people, those are the people that ruin everything we're adults. We can go to war, we can go kill someone, but we can't go smoke a flavored vape? If a game store stops selling games, are you going to go to the game store for a game? You said that question. That didn't even make sense. If Walmart stops selling vegetables, you're not going to go to Walmart for a vegetable. The whole store will shut down if it's just a vegetable store. You asked also. I believe you guys are looking at this wrong. It's not the smoke shops. It's the kids that are getting the vapes, and you guys need to figure out how to stop that. You can order. I was in high school. I'm 24 years old. I know how vapes were given. I'm sorry. But China, I can sit on my laptop. I can order fake vapes, fake, untaxed vapes to my house.
Thank you, sir.
I can order 20 of them.
Thank you.
In high school. No, it's 16-year-old.
Thank
in high
you.
School. Go get fake vapes to every student.
Thank-
Sir, thank you. Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, the question that I was asking was, I understand the effects on a vape store. My question was if you're selling additional products beyond just that. Hold on. If you're a gas station, you're selling gas, right? And you're selling other products. That was what my question was in reference to. I also just wanted to say something a second ago. Everyone here is providing one perspective, and I think the questions that we're asking is to be a devil's advocate to understand the other perspective. That's, again, not to say that we've made up our minds about anything, but it's just to understand and to ask questions again to get the full perspective. I appreciate you, what you're sharing today. I appreciate your passion, and these are, part of the reason that you're here and sharing this with us today is so that we can collect this information, so that we can go back again to the point that Councilmember Bankston said, so that we can make changes to the legislation, look at the legislation differently. Like, when folks come up with that level of passion and like, we're upset, it's just difficult for us to have a conversation back and forth because we're shutting down the lines of communication. So I'm just offering that as a perspective, because everything that you're sharing with us, we are taking it in. And if we're offering a different perspective, it's because we want to understand a little bit more, right? That's what a conversation is. We're going back and forth. So I just wanted to say that for the sake of everyone here, because I know my colleagues had an opportunity to say something and I didn't, and I wanted you all to understand how I'm thinking about things and where I'm coming from. Chair.
So I think to your point around doing something additional to target our youth, I'm thinking about the teacher's testimony a few folks ago. And she's not the only teacher that we have had the opportunity to hear that same testimony. And so if you all are responsible business owners and ensuring that young people are not getting into your stores, we know that they're getting it some way, somehow, whether it's from a parent or it's from somebody else. If we already have education in schools and out of schools, if we have hundreds of cessation programs in the city of Columbus, what else outside of a ban, so that kids can't have it at all, would you suggest?
I actually wrote this one down because no one answered this. Don't blame hardworking businesses for the lack of parenting and education. This comes from environment. If your household is drinking and your dad is drinking alcohol and you're 2 years old and you're watching that, you're gonna start drinking alcohol. That's the addiction. If you have to teach kids you have DARE programs. I was just in high school, I've seen kids vape. I know how the kids get it, and you guys seem like you guys have never vaped or any of this stuff coming up with this thing. Some of the stuff you guys are comparing vapes and tobacco. Vapes save people from tobacco, and a cigarette, there's horrible stuff. You need to show people this, and if your teacher is here grabbing information, she knows the smoke shop, which smoke shop does it, why is it open? Close it. I'm gonna say one more thing. I have 25, 30 employees. I took over my dad's business. Me and my brother over there. We have never been violated once for underage. We've shut down our other businesses and we've moved to this. We pay all of our taxes and you guys want to shut us down? It doesn't make sense. Like they said, we just paid our license again. Right. You have other problems to worry about. Human trafficking, you got fentanyl on the streets. Show the community that you guys care about us and do something. This is not the right path. I just want you guys to reevaluate. I believe that this should be legislated.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next up to the mic, Dave Allen. Dave Allen. Excuse me, sir. We're at the mic, but thank you. Dave Allen. Nina Cradoff. Nina. Rocco Bello. Rocco.
Hello, my name is Rocco Bello. I'm gracious for an opportunity to talk with you this evening and for your intent to hear, consider, and understand other perspectives as a part of the process. I come from a family of smokers. I was taught math, English, science, social studies by smokers. I was coached in elementary school and high school by smokers, along with flavored tobacco chew users. I personally used chewing tobacco and combustible tobacco for 12 years. I started underage. I would rely on older friends, or I would drive across the city lines to a specific store that my friends and I knew was cool. I too know the real life challenge of addiction and the harms of tobacco use. In 2013, at age 26, I tried a vanilla e-cigarette to prove that they wouldn't work. As a result of that, combined with a trip to Sarah and Jamie's store, I'm now an ex-smoker and have not used combustible cigarettes or chewing tobacco since 2014. Thank you. Flavored vapor products didn't save my life, but they've changed my life dramatically, both personally and professionally. In the midst of a 6-month major depressive episode, I found purpose through assisting smokers to make successful transitions to vapor nicotine delivery systems. And over the past 8 years, I've built a career on it. I've had patrons thank me while crying tears of joy because of the difference flavored vapor products have made in their life. Last week, testimony was given by an ex-police officer who hit the nail on the head by stating that this is a case of bad policy being tacked to a worthy and sympathetic cause. While statistics can be selected to shine a favorable light in either direction, the simple fact remains that any realistic issue won't be solved through an idealistic solution. These are legitimate, professionally made, or professionally manufactured products being sold in a regulated marketplace on a national and global level. While altering the means of access to a product through prudent planning can have a net positive impact, restricting access to everyone will cause a spiderweb of negative, unintended consequences.
Time.
Thank you. Can I finish?
Before, panel, before you, that's time, sir. Thank you.
Can I finish? I appreciate it. Thank you. We need representation that sees bad policy and will deny it in order to seek a more pragmatic and more effective solution. What we need is a unified and rational approach to produce progressive and sustainable change. Jumping the gun on the FDA with this ordinance as it's been presented will pose unnecessary circumstances not only to users of flavored vapor products, but also to specialized tobacco businesses that are in favor of tobacco harm reduction. Thank you. I appreciate you letting me.
Thank you. We have one more, and then we're going to hand the floor back over to the chair. So, Mr. Jamie Hall.
You guys heard from my wife earlier, and I want to thank you for your time as well. And it sounds like from everything you've heard, you keep asking the same question, which is what can we do more, correct? So with that, I would like to say with her story about her students, the student told the teacher who sold the vape to them. So go to that problem and take care of it that way. That's one way that you can make sure that you're getting them out of the hands of the students, is when a student comes to you and tells you, hey, this is where I got this at. It would be the same thing no matter what they found. If it was a vape, a gun, cigarettes, no matter what it is. You would go through a process of taking care of the person that sold them that particular item. So the businesses that are doing it right can stay open and have a chance to try to do everything the correct way. The other part is you mentioned that the FDA is also looking into ways to figure this out. That process has to be fair, because the PMTA process that they put forth that they're not even really using right now currently is not a fair system, because they can't, it's almost a thing that they can't do. So you guys want answers to things that we are willing to give you, but there's time. Time has to be a part of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When you say go after, what do you mean?
So for example, in the amount of time that we've had our store, we have had people come in and check, like sending in underage, like people to see if we're doing it right. If in 8 years you've never had a problem with that, you've passed every single one of them, you have to treat the ones that haven't done that right the opposite way. You have to shut them down and make them be less of the problem.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No, yes, it does make sense. I thought that you were, I thought that you were suggesting, so you're, if I'm following your line of thinking, we're assuming that the kid got it directly from a corner store. Yes, so in those instances, I can see where you're at. But in those instances where they're getting it from other adults, what would be your recommendation there?
You would kind of start at the home at that point. You know, the parent has to take some responsibility of that and say, hey, where did you get this from?
Okay.
And then you can get back to the source of the store or the place that sold the person who is of age and gave that to the young person. Because I think that's where this is happening, is places that are doing it the right way are not doing that. In 8 years, if I've never made a mistake, then, you know, I should be allowed to be the process that says, keep the people doing it right. That's how you keep. For example, there is a Linworth school that is very close to the store. And when you get word of mouth that do not go to that place, they're not going to sell it to you. They have an age verification process. It's just impossible to get it from there. So then where do they find out? What place are they going to get it at? You have to shut those avenues down. I think that will actually help with this problem.
And if we're talking about a 64% compliance rate in our jurisdiction, how many times is too many times for a retailer to fail?
I say one time. If you sell to someone one time and you're caught, you have to at least pay a humongous fine that hurts them enough to not want to make that mistake again.
What is a fine that is substantial to make a difference in this conversation, right? Because if we're talking
10% of their yearly income, that's big enough to say, hey, you have made a mistake. You have to pay up for doing this. How many people would say, I'm not going to sell to a kid anymore if I have to pay that much money? And as far as infractions, I say if you do it one time, you should say, you know, that's where the fine comes into play. If you mess up 2 times, 3 times, you're done. You cannot have a business. We pull your license.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Treat it like liquor. He's right. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Nope.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That will conclude the discussion part, but before you head out, I would like to call back up Councilmember Shayla Favor, please.
Hold your applause. And I really have to go to the bathroom because y'all see me drinking this water the whole time. But I do want to provide everyone, just if you have any final remarks or thoughts that you're sitting with right now, Edward.
I just wanted to thank everyone for coming out. I know that we may be coming from different perspectives on this, so this has been very helpful for us, especially as I'm basically asking for your help on how to deal with those non-compliant establishments. So I think this has been really insightful and helpful to inform our perspective. So thank you so very much.
I also want to say thank you. I mean, I think that this is, again, an education process, right? We're understanding. I just want to also say, I think that I understand that it feels like a lot is at stake for folks, right? And, this is people's livelihoods, and I understand that. We understand that. We don't take that lightly. And that's why we're asking the questions to understand, I think this gentleman, you brought up what do you do in the interim, right? We're just trying to look at this from all scenarios. Like, how does this affect how are there changes to the legislation that we can make? Is there a runway? How do we want to approach this issue differently? And I think all of these things are important for us to hear. But I do think that it's important for us to have a respectful conversation about what that looks like. When we push back, it's not actually pushback. It's just asking the question from a different perspective so that we can learn better, right? And so that we can be better informed. And having that perspective from all of you is really invaluable. So thank you again for being here, and thank you for having another respectful conversation. And I hope that we can continue to have one.
Nope. I just want to say thank you and look forward to continue to listen.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you for being here this evening. I know it was a long evening, but I appreciate you all taking time out of your day to help us be a part of this conversation. So once again, we're committed to continuing to listen, to hearing from all of you. We may not have been able to hear from everyone in the room that wanted to speak, but there are plenty of opportunities to continue the engagement. We are hosting an upcoming public hearing on November 9th at 4:30 p.m. in council chambers, and 2 additional small business conversations that are planned for November 16th and November 30th. Sundipti, can you raise your hand? This is Sundipti, this is my legislative aide. She has flyers for the upcoming conversations that you all should feel free to take and to pass out to all of your colleagues. And you can, I'm sorry? And virtual? Virtual, right. Oh, and the virtual conversation as well. You can also provide us with your email if you want us to send a personal invitation to you or to anyone else that you believe should be a part of this conversation. We have launched a webpage where you can see all future events and engagement opportunities, including the upcoming public hearing that I just discussed, and information to sign up to provide testimony, as well as to see Columbus Public Health's proposed legislation. Our public comment period is open, so please email flavoredtobacco@columbus.gov if you would like to share any additional comments. I sincerely encourage all of our residents to submit their feedback. And that's comments on the legislation and any other comments that you might have about the small business aspect here. Additionally, I encourage you all to follow me as well as Columbus City Council on social media, as we will continue to share updates and other opportunities for engagement there. Thank you again for your participation this evening. I have got to go to the bathroom. Have a wonderful